I like this quote: market agility is absolutely critical in the current environment. This is from Murray Taggart, chair of Alliance Group. And this is following 30% of our meat going to China is potentially under threat as recent developments on the Asian giant rebuking the Five Eyes Security Alliance, calling for China, which New Zealand's a part of, to stop undermining the rights of people in Hong Kong, and condemning new rules to disqualify elected legislators in Hong Kong. Just days after signing this regional comprehensive and economic partnership, trade and investment pact spearheaded by China. Now, we are joined by Murray Taggart from Alliance. Welcome to Serious Country, Murray. I mean, I understand that Alliance is one of our largest meat processors in New Zealand, but small fry when it comes to large global unrest like this.
Yeah, good evening, Sarah. I think the way we look at this is that this is sort of government to government type issues that we're talking about there, and as a trading company, we have to trade within the rules that are determined by governments. So it's not something that we can really influence. Obviously, we watch it closely, and it has a bearing on how we might view the trade. But and it's the same at the other end in China. There'll be our partners over there. They're equally keen to see the trade continue, and so they will equally have no real say in what their government does.
And as I said, the market agility is absolutely critical. That you were quoted there in saying that. And over the last 12 months, there has been periods where Alliance have reduced product, put it into other markets. Does that come at the detriment of relationship with China?
No, when we move product around and change the emphasis on one market or another, we're obviously in very close contact with our in-market partners when we do something like that, because as you suggest, we're not in the game of trying to offend long-standing partners. So yeah, we when we're moving away from, say, China, that'll be when our partners there are saying, look, actually there might be a huge flow of South American beef or something coming into the market. It's going to depress prices for a period. If we keep sending at the rate we are, all we're going to do is compound the problem. So if we've got a better option somewhere else, it's a win-win for everyone.
Talking about that, I mean, this particular COVID case in China connected to that part of the world. New Zealand is not the source of the contamination. I do want to talk about the great work Alliance did over the period of time that we were in level 4 lockdown in comparison to what we saw in places like the States. What has been some of your learnings over that period, Murray, if we were to see ourselves in that particular situation again, leading into a particular dry summer potentially again?
Yeah, look, the first thing is it's critical that we ensure the government recognises that we need to be declared an essential industry. And of course, that wasn't a given at the start of the level 4 lockdown that we have been through. So that's step one. The next step is to ensure we've got industry-wide agreement with government on what the rules of the lockdown are. And that was quite challenging in the initial stages of level 4 lockdown. And there's no guarantee that the same rules will prevail the next time round, because there could be different circumstances. So, we have to make sure we're all singing from the same hymn book when we're negotiating with government, and ensuring that they're very aware of what the situation we face.
Let's talk about the annual profit of 27.4 million adjusted to 7.4 million before tax in a very hard-hitting year, and paying partly subsidies back. That's a good result.
Yeah, look, we were pretty pleased to end up with a result like that. If we go back to March, when we were sort of looking forward, about to go into lockdown, and the world was sort of starting to look pretty uncertain. If someone had told us we could come out with a result like this, we would have been pretty pleased. And so, it still feels like a small amount of money for a huge amount of turnover, but in the context of the year we've had, we'll take it.
Yeah, wipe the slate clean. But we do have to talk, there's 20 million provisions still sitting on the books for historic partial non-compliance for employee entitlements. But you think that's going to be wrapped up with the Meat Workers Union shortly?
We certainly hope so. Obviously, we've had negotiations with the union to arrive at that amount, and then they have to take it to their members for ratification. And so, really, we just await them having that vote.
There is a crying labour shortage in the meat processing industry, like there is in every part of our industry, and Surma Karapiva from the Meat Industry Association has been highlighting that for us. I mean, when you've got this type of stuff going on, it doesn't look good for the industry, though, to attract talent.
You mean in terms of that Donning and Doffin case?
Yes, yeah, and just in terms of perception.
Yeah, I think that that case is not just going to have impacts on the meat industry. That's going to impact a whole lot of industries where there's protective clothing worn, and essentially it was a result of a court action between the Ovation Meat Company and the Meat Workers Union. But as I say, it doesn't. That means that everyone then has to sort of look at how they were acting over that time, and it doesn't, as I say, it doesn't just affect the meat industry. So I don't think we're tarred with any brush in that regard.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's good to hear. But let's talk about the fact that what's looking ahead is that food service around the world is not going to be returning in a huge hurry in 2021. There's been some strong market signals there to flow through to store prices. And the shining light to get us through really is still the country we opened this interview with, China.
Yeah, very much. And I should say, look, food service, we did see a few wee green shoots there in sort of Europe and North America, but unfortunately, as this next wave of COVID is sweeping through, then that's really put paid to that one. But certainly, China's been the shining light. You know, they got the COVID early, dealt with it well, and you know, really life has returned from a meat export perspective to pretty much normal, and so yeah, we're very grateful for the opportunity to be able to export to China.
Yeah. Oh, lastly, let's talk about some of our other markets, if that's all right with you, Murray, especially in Alliance's premium products such as tomato lamb, Salia Merino, into our markets such as the UK and the US with the rise of nationalism. How is the team feeling at Alliance about how to combat this?
Yeah, we're not too worried about the rise of nationalism. I guess the one that worries us a little bit more is a trend towards more protectionism in trade. And this was actually happening before COVID came along, but COVID seems to have sort of accentuated that issue. And so, you know, and you've seen it with the Trump administration, and there's no guarantee the Biden administration won't have a similar view. Now, we're fortunate that there's not a big sheep meat industry in North America, and so we don't tend to be a target of that sort of thing, but it's certainly something that we watch with interest.
So how are you feeling in terms of crystal ball gazing into the next financial year, Murray? I mean, is it, if you've come through it not too badly this time, is it sort of, sit and wait and see, or do you think that we're okay to navigate these storms?
Oh, look, we're pretty confident there's still opportunities out there. Clearly, not so much in food service at the moment, but in high-end retail and online shopping and home delivery, they're all areas where there's opportunity, and certainly in those latter two, they've grown enormously since COVID first came on the scene. So, you know, you never want to think there's not opportunity there, and the same people that we're going to pay good money at a restaurant, they're still happy to pay good money for top quality products.
Absolutely. A restaurant-like experience when you're in lockdown at home. People still want luxury when they can. And if they're going to eat less meat, why not eat the best meat? That's the New Zealand message. Thank you so much, Murray Taggart, Chair of the Alliance Group.
This is Sarah's Country.